ready for another lesson?
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Back Row Banter, your favorite casual movie talk podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Adam Schwartz, and on this week's episode, we'll be talking about the movie Twisters. But of course, before we get to any of that, I'm joined today by Nathaniel Gingrich.
Twister.
That was the joke we had going on from last week, isn't it?
That is true. Yeah.
Good reference. Good callback.
That's funny.
Good
Thank
callback.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Nice.
What up, folks? I'm NATO. NATO does NATO present?
Yeah, NATO. You know, short for tornado.
Oh, I was thinking
I was thinking figure out where he was going, and it took me a minute to realize it was short for tornado.
I thought you were like NATO,
obvious,
like the defense force.
Yeah.
I heard NATO.
NATO.
That's not NATO.
Yeah, the one.
I was like,
the organization featured in this movie is NOAA.
Yeah.
I don't. I forgot
National.
what that stands for.
Yeah.
National something of Atlantic Atmosphere or something like that. I don't remember.
NATO. Yeah.
NATO.
That's me. I'm NATO Nathaniel.
Yeah.
Yeah. I once lassoed
You
a
ever
tornado.
You ever
Rode it off
seen,
into
and
the
this is
sunset.
open. This is open to the room here. Has anyone ever seen a tornado in real life?
Yes.
In person? Yes. When did that happen?
When I was a kid.
Wow.
Couple times.
Like
They used to.
like
They
near
used
your
to
house?
be like more prevalent around here. Well, I
Yeah.
guess more Woodstock, but
Did they like move away or like?
I think it just depends on all the weather. Like there are some times, and we are kind of in a valley, so it is a little bit rare
Sure.
out there, but it has happened. Like
Yeah.
I mean,
I
like
know,
there's
like-
been a couple that have been like super close already this year, and we had ones like in Marengo and shit like that. Like
Mhm.
that's.
I was
like,
gonna say I
down
know
the street
Marengo
from
can
us.
get them. I actually the closest I ever came to seeing a tornado was in Marengo, when I was also a kid. But yeah, they're not that common here, at least up until like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Interesting. Anyone else? Because I've not personally.
No.
No. Blake,
No, I have
you?
not seen one in person.
Seen a lot of dust devils.
Whoa.
That's cool.
You know,
You guys see that like geyser at Yellowstone explode yesterday?
I did see that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually saw it this morning.
Volcanoes.
Super volcano
Yeah.
under Yellowstone.
Now we gotta watch Volcano.
Blow it all up.
Or sorry, Dante's Peak.
No.
Well, we could watch either one, but
What's the one with
the old lady,
yeah.
Dante's Peak.
Okay.
Is that the one where he like jumps out of the train car
Throws
and
the
then like
old
tosses?
lady.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
hero
I
sacrifice
remember
on YouTube if anyone ever wants to
Dude,
check that
I
out.
never knew what that movie was called. But I watched that probably when I was like between the ages of 10 and 12. It was
Sure.
like on TV.
100%.
It was a movie on
scarred you.
TV, and I just like started watching it. It did a little bit. I was like, I can't go near volcanoes. Like this is terrifying.
You know who
Um,
that guy is that does that too is John Carroll Lynch, who plays, I think most of us would probably know him as Twisty the Clown from American Horror Story, or maybe
Never
not,
seen that.
or Zodiac.
I
Blake
think I
definitely did.
stopped right around there.
Yeah,
I've seen Zodiac. Is he the
the
proposed killer in
yeah,
Zodiac?
the one that's
Yeah, I
creepy as
recognize
hell. Like-
Yeah. That's funny. Isn't there a scene in that movie where like they put up like concrete barriers in the city to like stop the lava flow, and they like stand there with like hoses and stuff like at the ready to stop the lava? Not Zodiac. I'm talking about Dante's.
Much different, but
I was like, wait a minute.
Sorry, I forgot to
I haven't seen that
reference
movie
that
at
we're
all.
going back to Dante's. Peak or
Remember when
whatever it's called.
Zodiac becomes the day after
Yeah.
tomorrow for some reason?
No. But in Dante's Peak, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just kind of remember this shot towards the end of the movie, like the climax is like them in the streets, like ready to fight the lava, and they just like have these concrete barriers up, and I'm like, this doesn't feel like
That's not how that works.
this would be a real thing you can do.
Mm.
Yeah,
You've never
I could
been
be
in
wrong.
that scenario, so you wouldn't know.
that's true. I've never been near a volcano that's active.
So I'm NATO
Shout out
Nathaniel.
Pompeii. NATO Nathaniel also joining us this week, of course, is Twister Ty, Tyler Verdalis.
What's going on?
Twista.
You should just call me Tornado Tyler. NATO Nathaniel, Tornado Tyler.
Honestly, that's what I was brainstorming myself. But
Twins.
Twister Ty is more fun. Twister Ty is more fun.
Twister.
Twister Tie though makes me think of like Twister, like the board game or whatever you want to call it,
Oh,
with like the color.
Oh, the
Ooh,
dots.
when's the
Twister.
last time you played that? That's
Dude,
a memory.
at least 15 years.
Yeah, I was
Like,
gonna say.
who's playing Twister after the age of like 8? Like,
when you're all bendy.
yeah, I don't bend that way anymore. Obviously.
Well, stretch
Do you think
more.
they still make that,
Yeah.
or you think that's
Oh,
like
for
a?
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely. Yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
You could literally
I
walk
haven't
into a
seen anyone
Target right now
play
and
it.
find one.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me look that up. Twister. Would it be
I think there's a
considered-
Twitch stream of
Yeah,
adult
you can
Twister.
order it on Amazon right now.
I'm sure there is.
I don't know. You could
That
start
tracks.
one.
That's the crazy thing, Nathaniel. I'm 100% sure there is.
We can start one. Let me look up Twister and Twitch and see.
Start one.
No
Is that-
one's.
is that
no
against
one's,
some-
No one's doing it, guys.
Some rule of surface.
Not only if we're like, in bathing suits or something. I mean,
Is there
people get
another
away
way
with a
to play
lot on
Twister?
Twitch, dog.
No,
Um,
it's either bathing suits or
Yeah, right.
suits.
Or
like
you can't
full-
play.
No, like
Yeah.
3-piece suits.
Right.
Oh, okay.
It's like shirts versus skins. It's suits versus suits.
Suits versus
Wait.
suits.
The way that Nathaniel asked that question though of like, is there any other way to play Twister, made me for a second believe that like he has some deep-seated childhood trauma where like some aunt or uncle was like, no, we got to get in our bathing suits to
Ew,
play
dude.
Twister. And I'm like, Nathaniel, save it for therapy.
Been
dude.
watching
Like,
Long Legs too many times.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my god. Rounding out the squadron today, of course, is big wind-blown BlakeHolder.
Oh wow, that was a mouthful there. I was thinking like big tornado, big storm.
Yeah, I
did
wasn't
big
sure
wind
what to go
blown.
with.
F5.
So I just went with wind blown. You could do a big F5.
Big EF5.
What was it?
Yeah, it doesn't. That also doesn't roll off the tongue.
Big EF5.
I guess I could have done
Blake.
like barrel, big barrel Blake.
Fox, do a barrel roll.
Lots of barrels in this. Or I could have done bale.
Yeah,
There's
that's
that
true.
giant bale of hay that comes and hits the windshield.
Yeah,
Mhm,
yeah.
mhm.
So maybe next time. Maybe for Twisters too.
Blown
Twins.
away, Blake?
Big blown away Blake.
There we go. Big. Yeah.
Blowing wind. Oh, that sounds like fun.
Yeah. I did think about big blowing Blake, but then I was like, I don't.
Sounds like
That
fart.
sounds rough.
All right, so what is it officially?
Yeah, for sure.
Big barometer, Blake.
Big wind blown Blake.
Barometer.
Big barometer.
That was
Blake is-
yeah. I don't. It doesn't matter. I think we can move on.
All right, fine.
Blake, how you doing over there in the big PA?
Yeah, man, I'm in Westchester, Pennsylvania right now.
Mm.
Scoping out a new
suburb of
HQ
Philadelphia.
potentially.
Yeah, so I've been able to meet
On
PRB.
assignment.
PRB East.
I was telling Adam earlier when we first got on Discord before you all did is I came across a guy today in a meeting who was the most like stereotypical East Coast guy you could come across, like down
Sure.
from the accent and everything. And it was like I can hear this guy as like the background character in the East Coast movie if the person's like walking in like downtown New York.
Hey, I'm walking here.
And the person,
That one?
yeah, like that's this guy for sure in the background, dude. It was as soon as he started talking, I had like not laugh. It was really funny.
Hilarious.
They are out there. They are out there.
a real
It's
thing.
a real
Dude,
accent. It's a real thing.
Yeah, East Coast people are naturally funny, dude, for sure. Just how like Southern people are like naturally polite. Although it's kind of strange, but it is like some hospitality. Like, you know what I mean? I think it just goes the same way. I don't know what mid-coast, or excuse me, I don't know what Midwest people have, not mid-coast.
It's a
Anybody
mix,
know?
man.
It's the oop. Sorry.
Oh,
That is one of our
Sorta.
taglines
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure.
yeah. Ope is
Okay.
not found elsewhere.
I
It's
say
great.
"oh" so much.
Oop. Yep.
Yeah,
Oop.
yeah.
I even say it to like myself when I'm like almost running into something.
Yep.
Like I just
Yep.
miss. I
Yeah,
like
yeah.
just dodge.
It
I'm
just
like,
comes
"Oh."
out. It just comes out of you. You can't stop it.
Mm.
Just oh.
And I'll maybe I'll even apologize to like the
or excuse me.
yeah the thing that's not even real.
Yep.
I'll just be like, oh, sorry there,
Yeah, my bad.
sorry there, table.
Sorry there, bud.
Take it easy,
Excuse
there,
me.
bud.
Yeah, I don't know if Midwesterners have much more of a trademark than open. And like, I think people think that we like cheese a lot, but and of course we do, but it's like, that's a Wisconsin kind of stereotype more than anything. But if you're not from the Midwest, you don't really know it's a Wisconsin stereotype. I've gotten like the cheese thing from some other people, but I'm just like, that's not really where I'm at. But yeah, I don't know.
Sausage.
Illinois, I did find the most normal state in the country. So that's
there we go. We'll take it, Illinois.
Yeah,
Most normal.
I think that's what.
Yeah,
it said.
Although a lot of people, go ahead.
I was just gonna say all I think about is smooth SpongeBob. People just look at us and we're just like, hi, how are you?
Lovely weather.
Perfectly normal. Yeah.
Lovely weather we're having.
Another great episode of SpongeBob, by the way. That thing's like top 10 for sure.
Oi, moi, mignoi.
No, that's the opposite. That's Doodle Bob.
I know, but that was
Doodle Bob. Totally different. They're almost like polar opposites.
I know.
Like personality.
That's why it just spoke to me in that moment. I was like, if Tyler's gonna be normal.
Wasn't Doodle Bob like? Didn't he? Was that like a part of his imagination?
No,
I know
he
drew
magic
that shit on
pencil.
the page
Yeah,
and he
pencil
came to
came
life.
down and he drew.
Oh
him
yeah,
and
it was the
then he came to
magic
life.
pencil.
Yeah.
Oi, noi,
Okay.
mignoi.
Yeah,
Me, oi, manoi.
yeah. That's a fucking all.
I used to draw Doodle Bob on everything, dude. Everything.
Is that the one too? Where is it in that episode where like Patrick gets knocked down a hole and is just like Finland?
There's a good chance because like he probably like draws a pit
I think that's what it is.
in Patrick's
yeah.
house or something like
He
that.
falls down.
Yeah, it's gotta be something like that.
Does. He draws like a circle around Patrick and he falls in a pit, I think.
Finland.
Oh my god. Underrated show.
Doodle
We
Bob.
talk
What a
about it
guy.
pretty often, but yeah.
Sorry,
All right, folks,
that really
well,
was just
no.
an intrusive thought that just came out and
Man,
just derailed us there hard.
Hey, sometimes they win, man.
Yeah.
The truth thoughts sometimes win.
it's a good derailment.
Human nature.
That was a good derailed intro, but of course let's get into our main thing. The thing we were all gathered here today for, which of course is a review of the movie Twisters. Of course, Nathaniel, if the listener here is new or maybe they've just forgotten, can you give them a rundown of how the review segment works?
What up, folks? If you're new or perhaps you've just forgotten, the way the rundown and the segment goes here on Back Row Banter is that it is in split into two sections. There's the non-spoiler section, then there's the spoiler section. Super self-explanatory. Wow, I'm struggling. It's simple. It's self-explanatory. It's two sections. In the first section, we'll talk about the movie itself, who directed it, who wrote it, who's in it, all that good stuff. There's a dog here now. Hello, dog. Then we'll go around the squadron, decide if we like the movie. Got to be a yes or no. There is no nuance on the internet. And then in the next section, it'll be full spoilers. We'll go about any big twists or, any big plot points that we couldn't talk about ahead of time. But if you don't want to have anything spoiled for you, go ahead and come back when we rank up on our Entropy list, which is our big list of everything we watched on the show ranked. Time codes will be in the show notes. Adam?
Yes, of course. This is a new movie, rated. What is this rated? Rated PG-13 with a runtime of 2 hours and 2 minutes and an IMDb rating of 7.1 out of 10. It is directed by Lee Isaac Chung, who people might know from the movie that came out a couple of years ago, Minari, which had Walking Dead Glenn. His name is Steven Yeun. Steven Yeun's the name I'm looking for. That got a few Oscar noms, of course. And then he also directed an episode of Mandalorian. I don't know what season. It just says 2023, so I'm assuming that's the latest one. So yeah. And then it's written by Mark L. Smith, who actually has some writing credits on The Revenant, which some people might be familiar with. And he also did The Boys in the Boat, which came out last year. That's I think a World War II movie, I believe.
Clooney.
Yeah, yeah. And then Joseph Kosinski it gets credited with The Story. He, of course, is Top Gun Maverick and Tron Legacy are probably some movies that listeners here might be familiar with. It is starring Daisy Edgar Jones, Glenn Powell, Anthony Ramos, Brandon Perea, Mara Tierney, and then Harry Hayden Patton. And I want to keep going, but this is such a long subcast of people. I think I might just stop it there. But I will say I do appreciate that it's not the whole order of appearance BS I've been going through the last however
I would say
many
your other big
movies.
ones
I feel like it's more common.
would be
Yeah, go ahead.
Katie O'Brien, Sasha Lane, and David Cornsweet.
Mhm. Yes, of course.
So we got Superman in this.
We do.
And a Hellboy sidekick?
Yes.
Was
I have
she?
to look. I think
She's
so.
the one that has the ghost things that show up in the newest one, the David Harbour one. She's the Joan girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then obviously, Love Lies Bleeding, a bodybuilder. They all team up.
Yep.
Adam?
The IMDb summary reads as follows. A retired tornado chaser and meteorologist is persuaded to return to Oklahoma to work with a new team and new technologies. That's fair enough. That's all you need to know. It's the movie is called Twisters, ladies and gentlemen. What do you think it's about?
Some twisters.
Twisters.
Twizzlers.
That would be the
Twizzler movie?
the Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs version.
Fellas, I know as I think we discussed earlier, I don't know if that was on pod or off pod, have not seen the
Yonder
The
original
original.
one, the Twister, from what year is that? 94? 96?
I believe we said 96. Maybe it is 94.
96, I believe.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I've not seen the original one. But I will toss it to Tyler, who has, and as he has shared with us, pretty big movie for him. Would you consider it a core movie for you, Tyler, or is it not quite that far, but just one you really enjoy?
No, I'd say it's pretty there for me. I think it's just because my dad would literally he would like every single time there'd be a storm, it's on.
Okay.
He's like, we're turning on Twister, like every single time there would be like a storm.
That's kind of a clever way to get your kids into it, I guess, or like to calm them down kind of thing. Like storms aren't that scary. We're going to watch Bill Pullman chase them down.
I mean,
or Bill Paxton, I should say.
Bill Pullman.
Okay, it's
I know.
one of those ones.
But yeah, I would say it's pretty core. If we're saying 96, I was 6 when this came out. So anywhere from the time that I was 6 to the time that I was probably about, I don't know, 13, 14.
Sure.
I would watch it at least, in those rainy months. I would say there were some times where it was on, probably twice a month.
I mean, it's written by one of my all-time favorite authors, Michael Crichton, as well too, the original author of Jurassic Park, author of Andromeda Strain, Westworld, director of Westworld, I should say. Yeah, I mean, even for me, it just it occupies this spot in my brain of this is what America used to be really, really good at, which was just action movies in this vein, where it just costs maybe $30 million, looks like it costs $80 million nowadays, has a plot, but it's not a villain shooting a beam of light into the sky. And there's drama here. Anyways, we don't need to reminisce about Twister that much because we're here with Twisters. The question is, does it live up to the legacy for you?
I think it does a pretty good job.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I have such a fond appreciation for the first one. I think that this is definitely, I could for sure see myself interchanging them now
Sure.
in like my adult life.
Sure.
And it also comes down to the fact that I've, seen the first one so many times that like, a newer version of it, is always nice. But yeah, dude, I mean, I think you really kind of hit the nail on the head. Like, this is what America was good at for a long time. And, they are drama filled. Like even this one, I still think has some pretty good drama, and
Yeah.
they definitely kick it back to the original every now and then, which I'm okay with. They're doing some fan service, but not really taking it to like the level of like oversaturating it. Which I think is a very fine line to play when you're doing one of these.
Sure.
But yeah, I think they did a pretty good job. I had a lot of fun with it. I don't know how you guys saw it. I saw it in IMAX.
Yep.
I also saw it in IMAX.
Okay.
Yeah, same here.
Cool. Well,
Cool.
then apparently the only way that someone should have seen it if 4DX. Or
Yeah, that's
whatever
what
it
I've been
is.
hearing. Twitter has been talking about it.
If there was one nearby, I think that would be quite the experience.
So, but yeah, I had a good time. I found myself definitely laughing and just kind of being along on the rodeo, if you will. And yeah, I think I'm a recommend, especially if you can see it in IMAX. I think it's
sure.
I think it's fun in those bigger screens. It's definitely what it was made for. And then even if you decide to skip it in theaters, it's definitely still a recommend down the road when it obviously comes to some form of digital viewing. If you're bored or if you like natural disaster movies, fuck yeah, turn it on.
I was ready to hate this movie. Based on
Why?
Based on the commercials or trailers that I'd seen, I was not super intrigued. I thought the Brandon Perea character was going to be really annoying.
Sure.
And and Glenn Powell, who I like and am a big fan of, I just like was waiting for the other shoe to drop and for everyone to start turning on him soon. Like he's had too good of a run here recently. Public opinion's gonna like change quickly. I feel like it happens in movie stars' lives, But I found myself having a damn good time with this one overall.
Good.
Yeah, I think a lot of that goes to Lee Isaac Chung. I think he's a talented director. I think that comes through, and that at the very least, he may not be breaking new ground with the action direction, but he's competent. Like
Sure.
he knows where to point the camera. He knows where he's gonna have everything. One contrast that I think sticks out between the two movies is the score in original Twister versus this one, which is much more needle drop, like we're gonna play country,
Yeah,
like
for sure.
And chase some tornadoes, and like I felt a little bit more like that's what made it feel a little bit more like TikTok-y content.
Sure.
Anyways, I thought I was gonna hate it. I had a really good time. I thought the actors overall were pretty good. I thought the action direction was pretty good overall. I was glad to see they didn't go over the top with CGI. In terms of it seemed like they were like, okay, we want to make this look like a realistic storm and look like a realistic set of destruction.
Sure.
And yeah, I think overall came away pretty positive, and I don't need to see another one. I think I'm good with this for a while.
No, dude, it's doing gangbusters at the box office. We're guaranteed a sequel
No, I'm good.
or a third one.
What is this
Not
done
like
so
it's
far
happening,
at the box
whether you
office?
wanna
I
know.
haven't had a chance to look.
It's almost broke 100 million, if not already. It had like a $9 million Monday, which is not common for a movie of this caliber, and it had like I think 70 to 80 by Sunday. So I don't know, it's killing it. It's doing way more than people thought it was.
That's dope.
Yeah. You know what
Yeah.
the budget on this thing was?
I don't
I'd
off the
have-
top of my head.
Do you get 3 stars?
You want to take any guesses here, fellas?
This
75.
this doesn't feel right.
Yeah, I'm thinking right under the 100 mark. So I'm thinking 90, 85, 95.
I feel like the majority of it would be in your cast. I'm gonna say 60 to 70.
I'm seeing mixed reports. Some are saying 200, some are saying 155.
Oh wow. Okay, we
So-
were wrong.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't know. This
I'm
looks
starting
like
to think Hollywood's laundering a lot of money with some of these budgets I'm seeing.
Yeah,
thrown around.
200 million for this movie would be
Yeah.
that.
It's,
be a
but it's
lot.
either I've only seen 155 or 200. I don't know if the 200 number is
Maybe
trying to
they're-
include like marketing or something.
Yeah, I was gonna
don't
say maybe
know.
they're factoring in marketing. I mean, the rule of thumb is
That's usually more than half the original budget.
Yeah,
for marketing,
usually
right?
it's take the original budget and double it, and that's what's gonna be your marketing side of things. Anywho,
Yeah.
I'm positive on it on Twisters too. That is Twisters.
You're
Tyler, you're positive. Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Recommend. Tyler or Adam and Blake. I'm sorry. Where do you fellas land?
Yeah, I'll jump in here pretty quickly. So it was I went into this relatively blind and not that interested, to be quite frank. The original movie's not one that holds a lot of sentiment to me. But honestly, I was pretty pleased. It's a fun summer popcorn flick, right? Which is something I can always get behind, just being the movie head I am.
Sure.
There were some heartfelt moments in there. There was some character development, right? You can argue. Then obviously the action, right, in the pacing is there as well. So yeah, overall, I mean, it's better than I thought it would be. But granted, it was hard for me to really pinpoint where I thought this movie would lie. I didn't think it'd really be necessarily like trash per se. But I was like, hey, okay, that actually wasn't too bad. Now, granted, I don't think it didn't move me enough to go back and watch the original. Right, we kind of harped on that earlier, which I kind of wish I took the time to watch it prior
Right.
to watching the second one, as I've seen the original one. But it would effectively this would be a first time watch for me. So yeah, I would recommend it to most people. The viewing I had was actually out here today. So that was pretty cool to be in a different theater. So yeah, it was the crowd was okay showing. I want to say it was like me and like 6 other people. This was at like 2 p.m.
Okay.
Wednesday
or so.
and screening. Yeah, I can't.
Yeah. So yeah, there was me and I want to say 2 or 3 other groups of people. One was like a small group. The other was an individual person. But yeah, overall, I'm in. I would recommend it. It's better than a lot of other BS cash grab IPs that they keep kind of just pulling out of the woodwork. So that's my 2 cents. Adam.
Yeah, I'm didn't know what to think going into this. I had a sneaky suspicion I was going to enjoy it, but I also was like very ready to be disappointed and like it just be another like Transformers-esque movie or Godzilla type movie where it's just like, cool, like cool things are happening. I got a lot more out of this than I was anticipating. Is it like movie of the year for me? No. Is it, a fun action movie with Glenn Powell and like fun characters and like overall like pretty well written and a pretty good time overall? Like, yeah, like this is kind of like a solid 7 out of 10, a solid like B movie even. Like there's absolutely nothing wrong with more of these type of quality movies getting made. So yeah, it's a good time. I think all the characters are pretty fun, and the actors do a pretty good job with what they're given. I'm sure it can't be too easy to act in front of imaginary tornadoes. So props. But yeah, overall pretty good. It got some pretty tense scenes as well. I'm not like afraid of tornadoes. It is my girlfriend's biggest fear, but I'm not afraid of them. but like even then, like some pretty good like sequences with them in terms of like just the stakes, if you will. So yeah, I was pretty pleased coming out of it. Also some good jokes and lightheartedness throughout as well. The movie definitely had some good beats to it that it was keying into. So I would definitely recommend this for anyone interested, whether you're a fan of the old movie or just someone like me who hasn't seen the other one and just kind of want more Glenn Powell in your life, because who doesn't? Like I'm not sick of him yet personally. I can very well see myself see that happening soon, but like for now, like I'm just riding the train. So yeah, is that a recommend all around then?
I believe so, and I love to hear it.
Yeah, I do as
Yeah,
well.
I'll recommend.
So that's gonna mean we're gonna head into spoilers. So if you've not seen the movie Twisters and do not want it spoiled for you, go ahead, check that episode description where I've left a timestamp you can jump to, where you'll be taken to our ranking of the movie up upon our Entropy list. Spoiler time, Nathaniel.
Oh shit! There was a tornado there, bro. Did you hear it?
Whoa.
Shit
NATO
goes down.
Nathaniel.
Gets blown
Classic
away.
NATO Nathaniel.
I know.
Wow. Classic.
Anyways, shit goes down. Gets sucked up. Then it gets thrown
Goes
down
up,
again.
it goes
So, one thing I'll say right off the bat, because it's also at the beginning of the movie, is the opener
Yeah.
with all her friends.
Were you just like counting out who's gonna die?
Well, yeah. So I don't know if it was like a huge surprise to you guys that they were just gonna start wrecking people like that right off the rip. But in the beginning of Twister, the whole reason she gets into like storm chasing tornadoes, her dad gets like ripped out of the fucking cellar.
Yeah, to a little girl.
To the little girl of the main character. And so she's like, that's like what got her into
Storm chase.
Yeah. So it's like, so yeah, I knew that was coming, but was it a surprise for you guys?
A little bit, because I wasn't sure what to expect. I kind of eventually caught on to the vibes of like, oh, this is all just
Setup.
background
Yeah.
setup stuff. Yeah. So yeah, a little bit, but it was fun to see them just like get sucked up. I was like, oh, that guy's a goner. And then that poor girl like couldn't like crawl fast enough up the side of the overpass. Also, like, definitely don't go under an overpass during a tornado. Isn't that? Then they say it in the movie, it's supposed to be like the worst place to go.
Well, I mean, we're lucky that that Longlegs made her do that, because she was really scary last time we saw her.
Wait, is that the same girl
Yeah, it
from
is.
Longlegs? Oh my
It's
god!
Kieran and Shipka.
Oh, it is. That's funny. That's really funny.
Yeah, that's funny.
Back to back
that's
weeks.
funny.
I didn't even realize that.
I hate that we didn't bring that up during the Long Legs review, because she's also in Osgood's previous movie, The Black Coat's Daughter.
Is she?
And we didn't make that connection. Yeah. So yeah, we fumbled that one, but that's fine.
That is funny. You're right though. I'm glad, Longlegs couldn't get a hold of her this time,
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was a cool kind of intro and cool setup. The F5 or EF5, or is it just F5?
In the original one,
And it's just F.
they just called it an F5. In this one, they say EF5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know the difference.
I would assume that it's just an acronym for something, and in the 90s, they just pronounced it as F, and now they're actually saying EF.
It's the Fujita scale, but I think they've added the E on there for something. I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know what the E is for. Either way, though.
Cool
intro.
Someone did describe the movie as Mr. Beast has a truck and he believes in you.
Unreal.
I was like, yeah, it's at a certain level, that's kind of it.
Yeah, I do love the Glenn Powell content creation bit where he's a tornado content creator. That is hilarious. And like the fact that he like goes to Oklahoma and like all 12 people that live in Oklahoma are like gathered to like see him.
Yeah.
it's great.
It was an interesting wrinkle to bring in of the people. This is causing more people to come out and try and do this or to come along for the ride kind of thing. But then they quickly kind of pivoted away from well, but actually we're doing good because we're fundraising afterwards, and the dramatic turn of having the Glenn Powell's crew be the good crew kind of necessitates them to write out or kind of ignore those interesting bits that they do raise at the start of it of maybe you shouldn't be bringing people into Tornado Alley just for fun because it looks cool or that kind of thing.
There are a lot of storm chasers too on YouTube now.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
But I did at first when I was like, son of a bitch. But then I started growing because I'm like, the one thing that these movies were so good at is just capturing or catering to their market, and clearly they're trying to do what Twister did for me when I was 6 years old.
Yeah, is
they're trying to make it seem like some kind of content creation, and it's just a way. But I was like, it is kind of smart.
No, 100%. I think it's a really good way to reverse the dynamics of the original Twister, where you have the kind of ragtag team up against the corporate team, and this time she's brought in on the corporate team to begin with, in this other team which looks like they could just be out there strictly for profits.
Yep,
is actually more of the ragtag crew, to use very simplistic terms. But
yeah, I think the comedy that kind of adding that into the movie, where you can kind of just play that off as a joke constantly, in terms of Glenn Powell's character definitely being the funniest part of the movie. But my favorite part of that is when he hands Kate's mom the T-shirt as he's leaving. Yeah, and it's just his face on the T-shirt. Yeah, I thought that was hilarious.
She's just like, what the hell?
Yeah, she's just like, really? So I thought that was a really good bit. Yeah, they kept going back to some. It wasn't like they were doing the same joke over and over too, which I can appreciate. They kind of just kept making fun of Glenn Powell's character, which is appropriate because Storm Chaser, content creator, is hilarious.
He can take it.
Yeah, and he can take it, obviously. Yeah. Do we have any what was our favorite tornado sequence here, fellas? Was it the twins sequence? Because I was expecting more personally out of the twin sequence. I thought that might be the finale of the movie was twin tornadoes. And the fact that one of them just kind of died out right away, I was like, we could have something cool there. But what are our favorite sequences here from all the tornado scenes?
No, I knew so in the original the twins wasn't really the pinnacle part either.
Okay.
It was always based off of how big it was, not necessarily how many there were. So I kind of knew that. I didn't know, but obviously they were playing pretty close to the original as far as kind of
then maybe
at least the sequence of things happening. But it was cool because they didn't make everything exactly the same. I think they did enough fan service without, like I said, oversaturating kind of that piece of it, because you do have to play a really thin line there on what side you want to go, and I think they did a great job. I liked that there were no cameos.
Yeah.
I liked.
I was waiting for someone to jump out and be oh, it's that person, give us that moment, but it never really came. And not that I'd recognize that person, but I was just waiting for some kind of legacy character to come back. So
yeah,
I'm also glad that they didn't.
No, I don't know if I would have been mad, but I think it would have just taken away from what the movie actually is. Because you can do that thing with Ghostbusters is a perfect example.
Sure.
That movie had so much of a bigger following. I think Twister fell into so much more of kind of a niche kind of community. Because again, you guys haven't seen it. Or you've only seen it once and it was only passing. Whereas then there's people like me, who watched it twice a month sometimes, 3 times a month, depending on how many storms there were.
Jesus.
So it's just, I think it definitely just does a really good job of kind of being able to play both sides, and I think it's doing a good job of capturing a much bigger market than what it did in the 90s currently. But yeah, dude, I had a fucking blast. I love that the first time you really meet Paul is him just driving into a tornado and fucking popping off fireworks.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
And then he just
Yes,
basically
yes, viewers, you asked us, and we can, in fact, shoot off fireworks in a tornado. Like, that was when I was like, oh, that is pretty clever, actually.
it's
That is good.
unreal. But then
That
you
is
know,
when I bought into the whole content
Yeah,
creator bit
yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
yeah, and I like the fact that like like Twister, it's more or less just like they're trying to even kind of like analyze what a tornado even is. They don't
Yeah,
even
they're
like
competing.
know yet.
Yeah, they're competing to send up sensors into one,
Yeah,
basically.
like data was just not as easy to get back in the 90s.
Sure.
Whereas like now, you know, obviously things have progressed, technology's progressed, and so it's a little bit easier to get the data. Now it's more or less somebody trying to figure out how to like completely choke out and stop a tornado like in its path. And so I thought that was a really cool
Yeah. Now,
take on it as
now
well.
now we've got these devices that look like Call of Duty kill streaks that you can plant next to the tornado and they can track the data. They did look cool. They did look really cool. I don't know who designed those little panels, but they were dope.
They were dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't like, again, to your point, one of the things I think that's kind of weakest for me about the film is the whole we want to tame a tornado with
Sure.
this chemical that
I
we
love it.
put in barrels. And like I get it just doesn't work for me as well as
Sure.
as the conceit of Twister with Dorothy and the sensors. Like that's
Yeah.
not as like believable to me, I guess,
Sure.
is the other part of it. But I do think that you can, having seen Top Gun Maverick, which is directed by Joseph Kosinski, and now seeing this as well too, and then obviously Tron Legacy, he does have a gift with legacy sequels, and I feel like he walks that line very well in terms
Sure.
of being narratively or beat like similar to the original, but not necessarily being beholden to cameos or just the old one as a strict set of guidelines.
Sure.
And so yeah, I think that's kind of, those fingerprints are felt on this movie. I think you know, I do think it's kind of funny that the climax of the movie is three men watch a woman do a task.
Yeah. Well, I think it's I did think about that. It was great though.
It's fair. I mean, it works, you know, kind of overall, but it really is kind of like, it's not super physically interesting as she drives across the field and presses a button, but I think emotionally it hits the right beats, and
Well, I like it because like say if this movie was made in the 90s, like Glenn Powell's character is 100% of the time the one to
Sure.
drive that truck.
Sure,
through the tornado.
sure.
So, you know, in terms of that kind of thing, I do like it for that sense.
yes, I think that's right. I think I would have. It could have also have been I don't know, that they were helping other people get to safety or something. Although I suppose Glenn had also had a building fall on his leg or something at that point.
It was like a train car or something.
Yeah,
It was
it
like
was a trolley,
wasn't it?
He got trolley car
Yeah.
problemed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
And then a water tower almost falls on top of him after that.
Yeah,
He was not in a good
that's
good
true.
position.
Yeah, everyone's swimming all of a sudden.
It's so good.
Yeah, I did laugh at like the water tower falling down because I forgot what happened so that it hits it, but it was like a Rube Goldberg machine where like one thing had another, which had
Yeah.
another, which hit the leg of the water tower. It was kind of funny.
It's great.
But yeah, I think
it plays, man. It plays.
it's one that the sum is greater than the parts, and
Yeah.
I'm a recommend. I'm a big fan overall. I think it's a nice summer blockbuster, like I think Blake said earlier. So
Yeah, I did like how much like sympathy they gave you for victims of tornadoes, you know, like in terms of like showing the towns and like the devastation, because like
Fucking
everything,
wild,
the
dude.
aftermath of all these tornadoes like everything looked pretty real in that regard in terms of like how much things are destroyed, and just like how much things are decimated. And like I don't think we cover. I mean, in all natural disasters, like it's never really touched on like how long those effects can happen for. But it really is like a huge thing for people. And with climate change happening, I've heard things of with house insurance and home insurance, like it's just not as much stuff is being covered, and it's more expensive and like all this other stuff. So it's a very real problem, and very very unfortunate thing that does happen. So definitely appreciate that they kind of did show that side of tornadoes, and you can kind of sympathize with just natural disasters altogether in general.
Agreed. And I think that's something that they do kind of like walk the line on, where they're kind of like, yeah, I mean, this is for it, but also this is a real problem for people as well too, and we are trying to better understand these to prevent stuff, which kind of brought the whole thing to the head of like, oh yeah, you're doing this so you can buy people's houses up at cheap, or their property up at cheap prices. That's a dick move. And I think a good dramatic fulcrum to rest your movie on as well too, in some ways. I think like the Anthony Ramos character, you understand why he's doing the things he's doing, but you're also like, you're kind of a douche.
For sure.
Though he comes good at the end, obviously.
Yeah.
What film Twitter is making a big deal about the fact of that there was apparently a kiss filmed between Glenn Powell and Daisy Edgar Jones's character,
I heard about this.
but Steven Spielberg told them to remove it.
Huh.
How do you feel about that overall? Do you wish there had been a kiss?
It really wouldn't have made a difference to me, I don't think. Obviously, I realize that there's a in the first one, it's like romantic like turmoil. They're trying to get divorced, and then they find out they're not over each other. He's trying to get remarried, and like all this other shit. Whereas this one, it's like, I think you're a douchebag, but like you're not, and then I like you. And then the other guy clearly has a crush on me, but I'm just not going to say anything about it.
Right.
Yeah, they did gloss over the love triangle that happened, and almost like love square with like the reporter Ben was also crushing on this chick. She had everyone. But yeah, continue. Sorry.
But no, I mean that just kind of really wraps it up. It was just kind of funny. They still had some kind of romance in there, but it didn't really spin the story for me one way or another.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if Tom Cruise can get away with not kissing anyone on screen for 2 decades, we don't need it.
If Tom kisses a woman on screen, then the next time he does a stunt, he dies. This is the devil's curse he's created.
That's the bargain he made. With
I was like, yeah, that's in the contract.
Yeah. It's the Faustian.
He can't run in the next movie.
Yeah, it's the Faustian promise that it allows his longevity as well as his.
No, the running clause is that he has to run faster each time.
Every time he's going to get
so even though he's only getting older, he seems to be able to run faster in every single movie.
That's funny, but
he breaks the fucking sound barrier.
He goes Mach 10, just like his character in
movie 300 from Tom Cruise.
The next Top Gun, it's just Tom Cruise on the ground catching up to the planes, and like he's like he's
running after the jet.
I don't think it's Superman because he would just fly, but he's like jumping to like across mountains, basically. That's from
Hulk.
peak to peak.
That's Hulk that you would do that.
Yeah. He's Hulk basically jumping across mountains, keeping up with the planes. That's Top Gun 3.
That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah. No, in terms of the kiss though, I actually not that I would have been bothered or anything, or felt like it would have like made the movie worse if they included it in. I do actually like that they took it out though. I do feel like it kind of enhances the ending in like that last scene where she's like, if you feel it, chase it, because like it's a little bit more ambiguous to like whether they're gonna be together or not, and like what's actually gonna happen. Whereas like with a kiss, I feel like it's more implied that like, oh, this is like an official thing. Whereas like, and of course you can tell, it's that I'm not blind to that. You kind of know, but like I don't know, I think it adds a little bit to it where it's like, oh, they never really got officially together in this movie, even though
Sure.
we're kind of expecting it to happen the whole time. And then that kind of impacts the line at the end where she's like, if you feel it, chase it. Like, I thought that was a great callback, and I think it works better without the kiss. It still would have worked with it, but I think it works just a little bit better without. So, yeah, I agree with Spielberg's notes. The man knows what he's talking about. Who's surprised, not me.
Straight up.
Yeah. All right. Well, any other big notes here, gentlemen? Blake, I know you've been busy over there, but do you have any quick thoughts you want to give before we head out of spoilers?
Yeah, I want to circle back when you were mentioning favorite scenes there. I actually was kind of intrigued by that twin tornado sequence.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I don't is this something like that occur in the original one? Tyler, can you
Yes.
call that?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's basically
So that's a callback to the first film.
100%.
I don't remember someone
Okay.
shouting twins.
It's
Philip,
the heavier set blonde haired long guy.
Dusty.
Yeah, Dusty. Yeah.
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry. But yeah, he literally he's in like his
His
RV
van, yeah.
van type of thing, and he literally yells twins.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I swear I just missed that.
Okay.
So
yeah, that was
that's why
that's kind of
there's-
one thing I wanted to jump in on.
Yeah, they did. Like I said, there's enough fan service there, but not anything like too crazy. They did a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed with that sequence personally, but you know.
Yeah, it wasn't overly like epic in the first one either.
Yeah.
It's always the big one at the end because they're always looking for what's the biggest storm I could find, or you know. But I would
Right.
say that, I mean, I guess they're both pretty equally as rare. Tornadoes are bad, but they can get really, really, really bad. Kind of like, you know, hurricanes.
Yeah.
Everything that's a natural disaster has a scale on it, and so, I would say that the big ones don't happen very often, but I could say probably the same thing for two tornadoes like spinning together. Have there been probably two tornadoes that touch down within like 10 miles, 20 miles of each other? For sure. But these ones are like literally dancing on screen.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I don't know if that's even like physically possible, or like obeys the laws of physics. I
well,
know
the guy
nothing about
gives
that,
like
so-
I think he calls it like the Fujiwara effect or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
I
Yeah,
don't
they
know if
did-
that's real, but
I don't either.
I was in.
That felt like yeah. I mean, they can do it. I don't care. It's a movie, but logically, I have no idea. I don't feel like they could like get a separate enough airstream to like do that separate from each other. I feel like they'd have to kind of just merge at one point, but who knows? I'm not an expert, so.
Thing is just massive.
Yeah.
Fire
what'd you say?
tornado.
Not as cool.
Oh, the fire tornado was pretty cool, but they could have done it better.
Not as cool as the
It was
Mad
kind of-
Max fire tornado. That's my problem.
Is that
There
Furious
is
Third?
also kind of the callback to this.
Fury
So
Road.
in like in one of the last scenes of Twister, the giant tornado hits at an outdoor movie theater.
Yeah, drive-in.
Yeah.
Mm.
Whereas in the new one, they just put everybody inside the
Right.
theater.
So that makes more sense. I did feel like there was some kind of callback being had in that scene, but I couldn't quite poke at what it was.
Yeah.
But I could feel it.
Did you chase it?
I didn't chase it. I did not.
You should have.
Well, I think that's going to do it here for the spoiler segment of the podcast. We can go ahead and throw up our movie up upon our entry list. Welcome back, listeners who skipped over the spoiler segment. We're going to go ahead and rank Twisters up upon our entry list. If you don't know what that is, it's our big list of all the movies we have reviewed, regardless of genre, regardless of anything else, all on one fantastic list. It's essentially our rating system. Rather than doing anything out of 5 stars, out of 10, whatever it is, we throw up all the movies we review on a list and see how they compare to one another. If you want to see the entry list for yourself, you can do so by checking the episode description where it is linked to my Letterboxd. Ladies and gentlemen, this is entry 194 upon the entry list. We have American Pickle still down there at the bottom. And we have, of course, Dune Part 2 at the glorious spot of number 1. Where we thinking? This is, like I said, kind of in that solid B tier movie, but of course we have a lot of like movies in that range. So I'm curious where you guys are landing. If anyone has a spot as they're looking through, feel free to let it rip. But I am
I think I'm at number 99.
99. That is below Doctor Strange, or sorry, below Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and above Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. That's not a bad spot to be at.
To put it in context, that's going to be just below Barbarian, Malignant, and The Descent, and Challengers, Fableman's range, and then above Soul, Creed 3, Quiet Place, and American Gangster.
And Fall Guy. Wow.
Yeah, I think this is...
And X.
Yeah.
And Prey. And The Menu.
This is how numbers work.
The menu.
So yeah, I think this is pretty decent. I think it's a good summer blockbuster. I don't think it quite reaches the height of something like a Top Gun Maverick, but I think it's a really solid entry. I don't think it has quite like the hook for me that like a Coherence, a Bullet Train, or a Tokyo Drift / Redline does. And I don't think it's quite up to the level of like, you know, your Pinocchios, your La La Lands, and your Descents and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So kind of puts me right there. And again, we always talk about how like top 100 is obviously a murderer's row at this point. And I think there's room in there for a solid little movie like this. I think 7.1 is about right on the IMDb summary as well too. So yeah, 99 for me.
Okay. It's a little bit higher than I was expecting from you. But still a fair ranking. I think I'm going to leave mine at 113, below The Strangers and above Frozen. I can't put this below Last Duel. That movie deserves to be below American Pickle.
That's so wild to me.
Halloween
I
2018.
probably agree with them.
Last Night in Soho, The Menu, and X are all right there, and I like really like this movie, but those are all just a slight notch above for me and just in general quality. But this is still really good, and I think putting it in this range is still like very fair for it. So 113 for myself personally.
Yeah,
Ty, do you have
that's
yours
valid.
yet? Yeah. Or Blake, do you have yours?
Blake, you can go if you have yours.
Actually, I'll go because I'm sure Ty will probably end up being the highest on this. So I kind of want to leave him have the last say and kind of sway some of these rankings where I think I may come in the lowest. So looking here, I was kind of comparing it to other quote unquote summer blockbusters or kind of just action movies. And actually, where I'm getting kind of caught up at was No Time to Die. But I was like, I think I like this more than No Time to Die just because I'm not sitting in the theater for 3 hours. But then the next thing I was like, okay, Die Hard. Die Hard is one that's kind of slowly been pushed down on this totem pole, probably a little further than it rightfully should be, where that's now sitting at 121. But that's still above Shang-Chi, Us, No Time to Die, The Rock, which is another older action film. So it seems like we've kind of just thrown the two older action films down the chain. So I think I'm going to put this at 122. So I'm going to go one below Die Hard and ironically one above Trick or Treat, which is a movie Ty loves, and that's actually a movie I love too. But I'll kind of show some respect on this one and put it above Trick or Treat.
Very fair, very valid.
Yeah, Blake, I would say that if this was a review of the original, I would probably push this a little bit higher because that holds so much more of a nostalgic value for me.
Sure.
Whereas like this one, I do think it was, I thought it was really great. I had a blast with it. I thought they did a wonderful job. Like I said, blending everything, giving the right callbacks at the right time. And so I think they did a great job. And the movie doesn't look like shit. Is something we also didn't really touch on. A lot of CGI, especially when you're creating storms, it can get pretty choppy. Is like even if you go watch them, watch the original. Obviously, there's a big difference in technology between 96, but you could tell, like obviously, they struggled a little bit. But technology's progressed so far to the point where like everything looks legit as shit. So it is really good. I'm just having such a hard time pretty much with right where you landed at Trick or Treat. Obviously, that's a gatekeeper for me. You guys keep calling it a summer blockbuster. Trick or Treat is a fall blockbuster for me. It's something that I can turn on every single year. I can literally just snack on something. It's Halloween, and I could sit there and I could lay there and watch it all day. I think this would be a great interchangeable movie for the original one for me. And so I struggle because, you also have things in there like the fucking Menu in The Last Night in Soho that I don't overly care for. And then you have stuff like X, Prey that I'm like super high on. Same thing with like A Quiet Place. So yeah, I'm struggling a little bit, but I think I'm just gonna kind of split the difference here. And I'm gonna put it at 114, below Frozen and above The Conjuring 2.
Wow.
Okay. Valid.
Yeah, I think just Trick or Treat is bringing me so far down.
Yeah.
I think I would be up more towards the maybe 100s if some things were shuffled around a little bit. Like, again, X and Prey are super hard for me to get past, whereas, like, The Menu and Last Night in Soho are really easy for me to get past. So I'm hoping maybe it can land somewhere in there. Maybe I don't know where we're at currently for averages, but
yeah. Well, that does give us an average rating of 112 even, which means we do have to tie break it with The Strangers. I've already looked at these IMDb ratings. Of course, Twisters, as we said earlier, is a 7.1 on IMDb. The Strangers has a 6.
Yeah, let me say. I thought it was 5.9 or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a 6.1.
That's fine.
Which is much lower than it should be. Strangers is amazing.
Sure.
Twisters
but
then goes
placing us above that allows it to kind of separate out that horror purgatory that's in there from like basically fucking 98 down to like 120.
Yeah,
definitely not mad about it. Yeah,
place it in there.
Cool. All right, there you have it. Twisters is at 112, below Halloween 2018, and The Strangers. That's it for the main review segment here. Our next main review segment, next week's episode, will be a review of Deadpool and Wolverine. What a good time.
I didn't realize that was next week.
Yeah, bro.
Already...
Wow. I did not realize that. Is that the biggest movie of the summer?
Probably.
I mean, it's got to be, right?
Yeah. In terms of numbers, I bet that's the highest selling movie this summer, if I had to guess. I can't think of anything else that's coming out that would be bigger. Let me look at our show schedules. No. Yeah, not much. Borderlands, but I don't think that's going to even touch what this does. So,
have we done both Deadpools?
Just the first.
Or only the first?
I don't think we've done the second one, but someone can correct me.
Yeah, I think you're.
Yeah.
No,
just
right.
I only see the first Deadpool.
Yeah. So just the first one. Which I don't even know. I don't know if I went back and watched the second one, so I may have to do that. We'll see. I don't know if it's.
And for context, the first Deadpool is sitting at 67, between Sorry to Bother You at 66 and Kill Bill Volume 2 at 68.
Could be a little high, but not by much. I think Kill Bill being below it is a little tough for me. But
yeah, that just sounds bad off the optics.
Yeah. So we gotta figure out those Kill Bills. I blame Nathaniel still.
Yeah, I want to say that Nathaniel was the one pushing for that.
He was. He's like, well, if we put them this high, we gotta put every Tarantino above this. Yeah. Wow. What dude, that guy's so annoying.
Should really vote him off the pod.
Survivor style.
What's up, folks? I'm Nathaniel. I'm the new one this week.
Fellas, we got some time if we want to do a quick round of what we're watching. Do we have things that we've been watching that we want to
Olympics
talk about?
start this week. Get in.
Yep.
True.
You know what else I've been watching? Sumo.
Yo, that was a random text.
Just wanted you guys to know about it.
Who got you into it?
Yeah.
Who got me into sumo?
Yep.
The world. No, I feel like if you spend enough time in like the combat sports world, like eventually,
Yeah, your algorithm will
will just
pick it
feed
up
you
at some
stuff.
point.
Yeah, and turns out the World Japanese broadcaster just is like has a channel on YouTube, and each day the way sumo works is that every 2 months there is a tournament. It's a 15-day tournament. Every guy fights every day, and he just fights someone else. And so if every day you're fighting, and then it's like whatever your record is by the end of the tournament. So you can go 15-0 and
Sure.
you're a god, but it's probably not going to happen because they're all 280 pounds smashing into each other as fast as they can, as hard
Right.
as they can every single day. So the whole thing takes 30 minutes. Each match is like 30 to 45 seconds. It's just big meaty fellas slapping meat, and it's good to
Unreal.
watch. And yeah, I support it.
Someone needs to clip that.
That's great.
And yeah, so check it out, folks. NHK highlights. Watch the July Ba show. Pick a favorite. I love my guy Onosato. There's another guy. His name's Ura. He's awesome.
It sounds awesome.
So
Are there any sumo animes? There's got to be.
I would think so, right? Like, seems like
Yeah,
it
there's
has
gotta
to be.
If not, there probably will be now.
Yeah.
We talked about it, so it'll happen. Our ideas keep getting stolen, folks.
Too many Steelers
What
out
ideas
there.
got stolen?
I
We have to file lawsuits. Like
the
I didn't
internet
know we got a lot of stuff stolen.
inherited the internet.
Mm.
That's what Timmy Turner always used to say, right?
Maybe.
Deep cut reference.
I don't know.
Fairly Odd Parents reference. Anyone?
Yeah.
Bueller.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I feel like
I
I would have
kinda-
picked up on that.
I kind of thought you said Tina Turner.
I got parents fan.
I was like, what?
I just remember there's a bit where like people would ask him like how he ever got something, and because he couldn't say he had
Fairly Odd Parents.
yeah, he'd say the internet. Or-
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah, I
I
do.
vaguely remember that
It's
now.
funny
I don't know
because
if I knew
I've
that.
actually made like remarks like that in passing to people. People are like, "Where'd you get that?" And I was like, "I don't know, the internet."
yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
So I guess maybe that is something that like subconsciously stuck with me.
Could be.
Because Fairly Odd Parents is fucking hilarious.
It's a classic.
Yeah.
That was that's
Remember when they had that crossover with the
Jimmy Neutron
show?
Yeah.
that was yeah.
blew my mind. You telling me Timmy Turner can be in 3 dimensions?
Well, a lot of people have like this theory of like Timmy dying at some point,
Of course.
and that's why he has the Fairly Odd Parents,
Mm.
and why everything is like so absurd in the show.
Mm.
And then he grows up to be Danny Phantom.
I mean, he looks like that.
And now I did love the Danny Phantom show. I'm not.
That seems very up Blake's alley.
Isn't that wild?
I do like
like,
Danny
yeah.
Phantom.
Cartoon
What a
show
dope
about
theme,
ghosts.
dude. What an underrated theme song.
Danny Phantom.
Bring it back.
What's your name was one of my first like childhood crushes when I was like watching cartoons. Is it his name Shigo?
Oh, isn't that from Kim
Just
Possible?
half green, half black
Yeah.
hair.
That's what I thought.
Is it?
right?
Yeah, that's Kim Possible, and I believe it is Shigo.
Oh, okay. I feel like they
Oh,
have
I
a
know what you're
character like
talking
that in
about,
Danny
dude.
Phantom though,
Ye-
right?
They might have.
There is
His
a Danny
his
Phantom.
best
Yeah,
friend,
maybe going
his
crazy.
like one of his best friends who is a girl is also like goth, but she's like black and purple.
Yeah, I remember
Okay,
that.
maybe that's where I'm
Yeah,
going wrong.
yeah,
But
yeah,
then,
yeah.
then that's the character I'm thinking
The
of.
only thing I remember from Danny Phantom is the box ghost.
Oh god. Well, regardless of callbacks, the only thing I've really gotten around to, because I just have the lack of means of watching things, is just The Walking Dead. Still, I found myself getting a little bit off track, and then I was like, I gotta finish this because
Gotta power through.
last week I was telling Nathaniel I'm just now getting to the point where I am further than where I stopped originally.
Right.
So I
When did you
know
stop originally?
like end of season 7, I think we kind of discussed. It was
Yeah.
either end of season 7 or end of season 8.
Okay.
So I'm officially past where I had originally stopped. So now I'm like I have to force myself to keep going. This
Right.
was the whole point in starting this. This means
Right.
nothing if you don't continue to
Right.
do what you're doing. And it's not that I don't like it. I think it's just like when you binge something so long, like 8 seasons is a long time.
Yeah,
It's
just
a lot, and they're hour-long episodes,
Yeah.
16 episode seasons. Like it's a lot of TV, dude.
So sometimes you just need to switch
Props.
things up. But I think I've switched it up long enough, so I went back to it recently. So that's really been the only thing that I've really been kind of consistently watching. Blake, Adam.
Yeah, I have been trying to catch up on House of Dragon. I've watched the first 2 episodes of season 2.
Nice.
So I'm gonna try to catch up this weekend at some point. I don't really have much going on Friday, so that might be most of my Friday. I am not after 2 episodes. I'm kind of like on this season. There hasn't been a lot going on. I've heard episode 4 is the big episode to look out for. I don't know. Not liking it as much as I was liking season 1 so far, though. I will just say that. But who knows? I haven't finished the season, so I'm not gonna say that is my official feelings. But that is my feelings thus far. And I also need to finish The Bear. I've started season 3. I've not finished it, so that's also on my list. Yeah, that's what I've been up to though, for the most part. Playing some NCAA. Sucking at NCAA. I'm still so bad. I have not won a single game online yet. Like I've played like probably 10, 12 games online. Haven't won a single one. Yeah, it's brutal, dude. So me and Blake played on Friday, and we were playing a game, and then all of a sudden Blake did what did you call it? A smash route? Just yeah, twice in a row, and I was like, what are you doing there, dude? And he goes, I'm just like reading the coverage. Like I see how far back your receiver is. So I'm just like, that's easy yards every single time. I'm like, and then I realized I was playing someone who played college football at the Division I level and knows how to read defenses and like where wide receivers are positioned. I'm like, I'm like not. I'm like way behind the ball on that. Like I can't even get to there. So I don't know if I'll dedicate enough time to really start doing that kind of thing. I've tried like just like basic stuff in terms of like kind of watching where cornerbacks and safeties are, like that kind of thing, but like I'm still like so bad, and but it's fun. I'm having a good time playing, but it's been tough. It's been a tough road.
Who are you playing as?
Absolutely.
Missouri. Can't get off them. It would be one thing if it was like Missouri was like a 6-6 team or worse, but they're like a top 10 team in the game, or at least I don't know if NCAA, or I don't know if the video game themselves gave them top 10, but they're like a decent team in the game. So, and it's fun to play as them and play at Faroe Field in Columbia, Missouri. So I've just been playing as them, but I should honestly probably switch it up because I think I would just keep losing to teams that are like better programs than me online. So it's tough on that front. Anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it for me. I haven't been doing much else.
If you're bored on Friday, you're more than welcome to come to volleyball.
It's true.
My shoulder.
No, you don't have to play.
It's a bar.
I'm out for the season. Oh, we'll see.
You don't.
90% of the time, we just hang
I
out.
was gonna say the season's halfway over, and you have to sign a waiver to play anyway.
Yeah.
So we're not gonna let you play.
All right. Well, okay. Well, I just want to say you guys said that sentence with you guys can come to volleyball, insinuating you guys want me to come play volleyball. I feel like I like don't remember immediately that it was at a bar.
I said if you were
forgot
bored.
No, it's also we do use volleyball interchangeable for like the time we spend at volleyball, where we play a game for 45 minutes, but we're there for 5 hours.
True.
Which is so fair. Yeah, that's so valid. I haven't been through that experience, so that's just not what registered for me when you
That makes
said
sense.
that. Yeah. No, I think we're both just a miscommunication. It happens. It happens. But yeah, I'll let you guys know. I don't. We'll see.
For sure, dude. Blake, you got anything you want to?
Yeah.
You've been watching lately, or pretty slow?
Yeah, I was able to get to one thing. I want to say the other week we somehow got on the topic of sharks, and I was like, I'm gonna go watch Open Water.
Okay.
So
Hilarious.
I did go back and watch that on Max. Yeah, very very bleak film. To Tyler's point when we talked about that on pod the other week. But yeah, overall It still
It's a good movie.
holds up pretty well.
Yeah.
It's got that very grainy early 2000s, late 90s aesthetic, right? That
For
it's filmed
sure.
on like a home video.
Shot on video.
So yeah, definitely one of the better shark films that you get out there. That's Chris Kentis, which that's the only film I'm familiar with
I
him
think
making.
it's the only thing he did.
Oh, really? Yeah.
It's not a lot.
Actually, no. So here, looking up here, he did Silent House.
Oh, I
2011,
remember
and
that.
with,
That's a pretty decent movie
that's
too.
yeah, that's with one of
the
the
other
Olsen
Olsen.
sisters. I can't think of which one.
Elizabeth.
Yeah,
It's the youngest one.
yes, the one that's in the Avengers.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are the two things I've seen him do there. So yeah, yeah, that film was want to guess the budget of that film? Fellas, any chance? Or Tyler, you guys have seen it.
I gotta. It's like $1 million.
It's dirt.
Yeah, it's dirt cheap. Yeah.
So I'm sure he's collected his funds on that. Outside of that, I've played NCAA a few times. I started a Dynasty. I played one game online. Pardon me, I played 2 games online. And I've been playing with East Carolina at the request of Nathaniel. But yeah, that's for like the amount of knowledge I have football. Playing that game online immediately reminded why I stopped playing sports video games.
I can't imagine.
Yeah,
I can't imagine.
And I was like, this is fucking stupid.
It's just people who have like stayed playing Madden for the last 10 years.
For sure.
It's just
for sure.
Who are you? Like, why have you done this to yourself?
Why have you done this to
Played 2
yourself?
games, got my ass kicked in both games, and I was like, "Well, this isn't fun." So then I was like, "I'm just gonna play."
I really need to stop playing online, or else I'm gonna throw a controller at a wall, dude. Because like it got to the point the other night where I was just like, I threw a pick in the red zone, down 1 touchdown, and I was like about to lose my mind because I'm like, I'm so close. I was so close to winning, and I lost like 9-0. What also made me so upset is like one of my last kick up drive or the guy, like I got a stopper, he scored or something, and he kicked it off, and my receiver grabbed it with like 1 foot on outside the end zone, and I didn't see it, and so I just stood there expecting him to take a knee, and then he didn't take a knee, and then I got a safety, so I lost 9-0.
Yeah, man.
I was like,
so,
dude, you can't make this shit up, dude. I was like, holy crap.
For sure. That game online, just from, like I said, 2 games is enough to run the table and in my mind mentally, like why I stopped playing this shit like 12 years ago.
Yeah.
So started doing a Dynasty with East Carolina. So right now I'm on like the 4th game of the season. I'm 2-2. So we'll see what we can do. But that's just way more palatable. Just to play the computer, figure out what's going on. Although the computer
I need to do that.
Like, this is fucking ridiculous.
Well, depending on the difficulty you have. Yeah.
So
I haven't tried the Heisman setting yet, but I've heard the Heisman setting is like borderline like not fun, like unfair, and like
I haven't even tried that. There's no way.
Yeah, that's what I keep hearing.
So yeah, maybe another time we'll hop back on there. Let me at least try to.
Yeah, we'll run it back soon. I got some schemes cooked up for you. Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. The goal is at least want to try to get at least like to play it for like a month, so that way I feel satisfied spending like $70 on it. So
right.
We'll see. Yeah, but yeah, that's it on my end. So I think I am going to try to watch Deadpool 2 though. Deadpool 2, not Deadpool Tool. Deadpool 2 as well. Prior to watching, is it just Deadpool and Wolverine, or is it? Don't tell me it's Deadpool versus Wolverine.
No, it's Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah. We'll go from there.
Cool. Is that everybody? Everyone go through?
Yep.
I believe so.
All right. Well, that means we're going to go ahead and head out of this episode. So you can find us on Twitter, of course, at Banter Row, on Instagram at Back Row Banter Pod, and our YouTube is just Back Row Banter. Please go subscribe to us there. Please share the podcast, share with a friend, a family member, a tornado wrangler if you know one or two. And then, of course, this is a Back Row Banter is a Mags Up podcast. Go see that episode description for all of those Mags Up links back to their Twitter. Doing some fun stuff over there, so go give them a follow and check all of their other content stuff out. BlakeHolder, where can the people find you at, my man?
Letterboxd, I'll be on there, rate some things out of 5 stars. Letterboxd, BlakeHolder. Instagram, Xbox, NCAA occasionally. Outside of that, Mortal Kombat. So yeah, that's where I'm at. We'll pass it to let's go to Nathaniel.
You can find me on Twitter and Letterboxd at NSGingrick. You can find me on Instagram at NathanielG92. Tyler?
You can find me on Instagram, Letterboxd, and X, all Tyler Vidalis, VIDALES. Is that it, or Adam?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Aish24, on Letterboxd at Aish. And I think that's going to do it here for us. Episode 199, episode 200 next week, fellas.
Whoa.
I know we kind of like mildly celebrated that on our 1 year app because that was kind of like we already done 200 episodes at that point. We just had numbered them, but still, the number episodes coming up next week, so that's exciting. But yeah, check out or thank you all for listening, especially if you made it this far into the episode. You're my favorite type of listener, and we really do appreciate it. Join us for our review of Deadpool and Wolverine next week. We'll be RB.
America. Ready for another lesson.
Yeah, it's a very Gen Z thing of you, Nathaniel.
Yeah,
You're
but
showing your youth.
Unreal.
I'm just connected with the people.
You are.
Skibbity toilet or whatever.
What?